Welcome back to JCarMania, the ultimate pit stop for all things fast, furious, and finely crafted. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most highly anticipated Grand Tours of the decade, the 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish. A name that evokes legacy, power, and elegance. But the big question is, does this new iteration live up to the legendary Vanquish badge? Let's fire up the facts and find out. The 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish marks a pivotal shift for the brand. Unlike its predecessor, which was front-engined and rear-wheel drive, the new Vanquish steps into the mid-engine arena. That's right, Aston Martin has officially declared war on supercar rivals like the Ferrari 296 GTB and McLaren Artura. The Vanquish is no longer just a luxurious Grand Tourer, it's a focused performance machine, engineered with precision, passion, and just the right amount of British flair. Under the sculpted hood, or rather, behind the seats now, lies a 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine sourced and tuned in collaboration with Mercedes-AMG. But Aston hasn't simply borrowed the engine and bolted it in. They've worked their magic on it, dialing in bespoke calibrations to give it a unique character. The result? A staggering 835 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. All of this is channeled through an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission to the rear wheels. The numbers are mouthwatering. 0 to 60 comes in just under 2.9 seconds, and it rockets to a top speed of over 217 miles per hour. But these figures only tell part of the story. What really matters is how the Vanquish puts that power down. It's remarkably linear in delivery, ferociously quick without being unruly. There's no turbo lag to speak of, and the throttle response is sharp, precise, and immediate. The sound, deep, aggressive, and unmistakably Aston, a raspy growl that crescendos into a high-pitched wail as the revs climb. It's auditory adrenaline. Aston Martin has equipped the Vanquish with an advanced adaptive suspension system that uses a multi-link setup front and rear. Coupled with active dampers and an electronic limited slip differential, the chassis delivers a perfect blend of grip and compliance. Whether you're carving corners in the Alps or cruising down the Pacific Coast Highway, the car adapts with near-telepathic intuition. Steering feel is another standout. Electric power assistance often mutes feedback in modern supercars, but Aston seems to have struck a rare balance. There's weight, precision, and just enough road texture coming through the wheel to keep the driver fully engaged. It dances into corners with confidence, remaining flat and composed even under heavy lateral loads. And thanks to a near-perfect 50/50 weight distribution and a rigid bonded aluminum chassis, the Vanquish remains unshakable at speed. Braking performance is equally impressive. Carbon ceramic brakes come standard, and they deliver immense stopping power with fade-free consistency. Whether you're pushing hard on a track or making a sudden stop in traffic, they inspire confidence. The pedal feel is progressive, not grabby, making modulation easy even under spirited driving. And let's talk tires. The Vanquish rides on staggered 20-inch front and 21-inch rear forged alloy wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 rubber. These are track-ready tires that offer immense grip, especially in dry conditions. The car stays planted through fast sweepers and sudden switchbacks alike. Of course, they can be a bit noisy and stiff on uneven pavement, but that's the trade-off for this level of performance. On the tech side, the 2026 Vanquish is no slouch either. A fully integrated performance telemetry system lets you analyze your driving in real time. From G-forces and throttle position to braking zones and cornering speeds, it's a geek's dream and a driver's tool. The drive mode selector offers multiple presets: GT, Sport, Sport Plus, and Track, each one altering suspension stiffness, throttle mapping, transmission behavior, and exhaust note. In GT mode, it's surprisingly civil, quiet, composed, and even moderately fuel efficient. But switch it to Track and the beast is unleashed. The exhaust snarls, the gearbox becomes razor sharp, and the suspension firms up for max attack. One of the biggest surprises about the new Vanquish is how refined it remains despite its performance credentials. At highway speeds, it settles into a comfortable rhythm. The cabin is well insulated from wind and tire noise. The ride, while firm, isn't punishing. Long-distance touring remains very much in its DNA, even if it now comes wrapped in supercar clothing. That brings us neatly to the interior, a space where Aston Martin has always shined. The 2026 Vanquish continues this tradition with a design that's both futuristic and timeless. The moment you open the swan hinge doors, you're greeted with a cockpit that oozes craftsmanship. Materials are top shelf. Think hand-stitched leather, real carbon fiber, brushed aluminum, and Alcantara in all the right places. The seating position is low and snug, but not claustrophobic. You feel cocooned, connected, and in command. The bucket seats are sculpted for spirited driving, with generous lateral support, adjustable bolsters, and integrated ventilation. They're firm enough for track days, yet cushy enough for cross-country road trips. The dashboard layout is driver-focused, clean, and modern. A digital instrument cluster presents crisp, high-res graphics with customizable displays. Whether you want to monitor lap times, fuel economy, or navigation, everything is just a few swipes away. The center console houses a vertically oriented touchscreen infotainment system, a significant improvement over previous Aston systems. It's quick, intuitive, and now includes wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and over-the-air updates. Thankfully, Aston hasn't gone full touch. There are still physical controls for volume, climate, and drive modes, preserving that tactile charm. Storage space is modest, as expected in a mid-engine supercar, but Aston Martin has made clever use of available room. There's a small front trunk, and the rear deck offers a bit of space for soft luggage. Inside, the center console and glove box provide enough room for daily essentials. But let's be honest, if you're buying a Vanquish, you're probably not hauling groceries. In terms of cabin tech, you get a premium 15-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, a full suite of driver assistance features including adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and blind spot monitoring, plus a surround view camera system for easier parking. Even in the realm of supercars, daily usability matters, and Aston has clearly paid attention to the finer details. Build quality is solid, with every stitch, seam, and panel gap meeting the standards you'd expect at this price point. And speaking of price, the 2026 Aston Martin Vanquish starts around $320,000, but with options and bespoke customization through Q by Aston Martin, it's not hard to push that number well north of $400,000. So what's the final verdict? Is the 2026 Vanquish a worthy bearer of its iconic nameplate? Absolutely. This car isn't just a beautiful face with a powerful engine, it's a complete performance package. It combines Aston Martin's rich heritage with cutting-edge engineering and modern-day tech. It's brutal when you want it to be and serene when you need it to be. It's got the agility of a true supercar, the luxury of a high-end Grand Tourer, and the charisma of a Hollywood star. Where other mid-engine exotics scream for attention, the Vanquish seduces. It doesn't need to prove anything, it simply is. Refined, powerful, and unmistakably Aston Martin. If you're in the market for a supercar that offers both soul and substance, the 2026 Vanquish belongs at the top of your list. And even if you're not, this is the kind of machine that reminds you why we fall in love with cars in the first place. That's it for today's deep dive on JCarMania. If you enjoyed this performance review of the new Aston Martin Vanquish, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Which car should we review next? You decide. Until next time, keep your engines revving and your passion alive. Thanks for watching.